Connected to that issue of communication is the reason why we're gathered today.
Yes.
And that is to talk about the new standards.
Right.
There are a lot of conversations happening across the country.
Right.
In a lot of different areas, and there are a multitude of views that exist. And the purpose of our conversation today is to really drill down into what are the facts, what is the information, and for my benefit even, just to find out what is this thing called the Common Core.
Sure.
What is it about? Where did it come from? Why has it been a controversial topic? And, what does that mean? So I know this is a lot today,
yeah,
and
sure.
We may have to continue the conversation. But there recently was something that you moved into immediately upon your arrival here, and that was conversation about repealing the Common Core standards.
Right.
And I know you've been involved in a lot of conversations and educating people about what they are, and that's what I want to do today. So, what is it?
Okay, so I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. Let me just start as first and foremost, I'm a teacher, and I have to provide this at the very basic level so every citizen can understand that. So if we're going on a trip, we have to have a roadmap to get there. So I wanted to use that analogy to kind of so people understand that, so that when we begin the journey of education, there is a roadmap which guides that journey for our student to progress from pre-K through 12. And so a standard is that roadmap. That's what a child is expected to know by the end of a particular grade level or by the particular end of a course. So it's the roadmap that guides the teacher in terms of what the teacher teaches throughout the school year in a grade level or in a course. And it's very important to understand that, because people have made, they don't always understand the distinction between a standard and then the curriculum and then the assessments. There's three major prongs of this. But clearly the standards are the roadmap that explains what a child should know and what teachers are expected to teach. And it's at each grade level, building pre-K through 12, and then further defined at a course. So the Common Core is specifically devoted to English language arts and mathematics. And it's those standards at each grade level, what children are expected to know upon the completion of the grade level or the course. So there were conversations occurring in 2010 at the National Governors Association, and with my organization it represents the state's chiefs, what's called CCSSO, the Chief State School Officers Association. All the chiefs at the time, 50 chiefs in America of all the states, came together with the governors and had conversations about the need for commonality of standards. So as we're looking to improve the education in the nation, each state had their own different standards, and they were aligned differently. That caused concern in terms of comparability, but it also caused concerns from my vantage point because I'm so child-centered that I used to work in a military community as a superintendent, and children were moving. And I'd heard story after story that they'd been to different states and there were different expectations. This was a way to provide a level of basic commonality, what children were expected to know in reading language arts and in mathematics. And so in essence, that is the essence of the Common Core. It is the standards that define what a child should know at the end of a grade level or at the end of a course, and then the commonality that's occurring amongst states. So that's the basis of that and how it came about.
So it's actually a standard and an expectation that is subject specific, and it's not necessarily the methodology
Absolutely.
That's embedded in the curriculum about how to get there.
Exactly. So again, if I were to parse that out, the standards again are the roadmap, the how, the curriculum, the standards are the what, then the curriculum becomes then the how that's done.
Okay.
So then our teachers are trained, and that's the expectation at the local level, at the schools, working in the counties with superintendents and principals and teachers, developing the curriculum of how those standards are going to be accomplished. And that's when we talk about local control. The local control, the locals control that, our teachers, and that's where we want that. The teachers know best how to provide that, and we provide the hopefully there'll be the expectation that the superintendents provide the training, that principals are provided with the training and the resources to accomplish that. And so there are different methodologies to allow that to occur. And again, teaching in the level of for the future, not from the past. So gone are the days of rote memorization. We have to have the understanding of the foundational knowledge things have to be committed to memory, but without application, then that knowledge becomes meaningless in that sense. So we're digging deeper, and we're going deeper in terms of knowledge base for application for problem solving, and so that young people can take that knowledge and be able to apply it to problems and be able to solve those in the future.
I've talked to friends in other states, and they have their parents, and they've asked about the Common Core, and they know I work in education, and
Right.
that's what I thought about it. And some had said that they'd heard that, for example, the math, the Common Core has people do math differently in a way that may not be the way that their parents
Right.
had learned math.
Absolutely.
And some would say that it's not smart math.
Right.
That isn't the Common Core, is it?
Well, the Common Core, again, are the standards. The application process is we're moving more to a problem-solving mode. It is a shift, and I've heard that over and over. So I speak at a level of expertise on that particular piece, all these pieces, because of the fact I was a science and math teacher. And I understand the process. I pulled a book out recently that I used as a teacher back from the late 80s and early 90s that said, when are we ever going to use this stuff, is what it's entitled. And it talked about the application. And again, there was a quote in there from Thomas Edison, the knowledge without application is meaningless. So and I use that to describe it so that it just can't be memorizing a variety of facts and numbers and equations. You need to know how to apply that to solve problems. So many of the parents that we're talking to are from my generation. Learned one algorithm, one way to do a problem, one way to solve a problem, two-step division, three-step division, different ways, and there was a certain way and you were caught in a rigid block. But if you probably remember, many of us were told, including myself as a child, I'd sit there like this and use my fingers because I was presided, and I was told not to do that. Well, guess what? That's a way where the brain is developing and making sense of numbers. It's called number sense. You're actually making sense by using my 10 fingers, 4 fingers and 2 thumbs, 10 fingers, I actually have a base 10 set of visuals in front of me that I can start computing with my fingers as a mini calculator. And many of our students are visual learners, and they see that. So when our parents encounter that, they said, we weren't told to do this. We're now providing different ways to solve problems. Teach a traditional way of algorithm, but then oftentimes look at different ways for children to be able to solve, because not every child learns on the same way on the same day. They have different ways of approaching it. And so that's how we're looking at it, to provide, again, I keep saying over and over, the opportunities to solve problems and be creative and innovative in your thinking.
But that approach is something that is local or maybe state-specific. It's not something that's happening up above.
Absolutely, but
Okay.
what we are saying at the state level is we want our young people exposed to innovative practices that will allow them to be critical thinkers, problem solvers, and to be prepared for the usage of that knowledge. How that occurs at the local level is in just the pure jurisdiction of the superintendent, school board, principals, and teachers, and we encourage that, and we want that to occur. So again, standards set by the state, the local control in terms of the curriculum, all the things of the how that gets done is very much there. But also we are promoting the fact of higher learning, critical thinking, problem solving, as I've said, because again, as our economy and our society has shifted, we're not just sitting there memorizing facts. It has to be the application.